Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Radha Damodara Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, that's Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, can you? There's a Nectar of Devotion there. Could you? Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Is that table okay? Yeah, this is good. Thank you. Okay, today we're reading from Canto 4, The Creative Impetus, Chapter 4, The Characteristics of Rishabdev, Text 4. See. Sorry, Canto 5. Yeah, Canto 5, Chapter 4, and text. Let's see. Which text is it? Yeah, it's text 4. Yeah, it's text 4. So 5.4.4. Okay. So this is still in prose and not poetry. So I'll just read the verse and then we'll do the Sanskrit. Navistu yata vilashitam suprajastvam avarudhyati pramodabhara vivalo gadgada taraya gira swairam rihita naraloka sadharmam bhagavantam purana purusham maya vilasita matir vatsa tateti sanuragam upalalayan param nivritim bhagataha. Nabihi, if you can repeat after me. Nabihi, King Nabi, do certainly. Yata avila shitam, according to his desire. Suprajastvam, the most beautiful son. Varudhya, getting. Lati pramodha, of great jubilation. Bhara, by an excess. Vivalaha, being overwhelmed. Gadgada aksharaya, faltering in ecstasy. Gira, with a voice. Swairam, by his independent will. Grihita, accepted. Naraloka sadharmam, acting as if a human being. Bhagavantam, a supreme personality of Godhead. Purana Purusham, the oldest among living beings. Maya, by Yoga Maya. Vilasita, bewildered. Matihi, his mentality. Vatsa, my dear son. Tata, my darling. Iti, thus. Sa anuragam, with great affection. Upalalayan, raising. Ram, transcendental. Nivritim, bliss. Upagataha, achieved. Translation. Due to getting a perfect son according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him, my dear son, my darling. This mentality was brought about by Yogamaya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. Please repeat. Due to getting a perfect son, according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him. My dear son, my darling. This mentality was brought about by Yogamaya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus, King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word Maya is used in the sense of illusion. Considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be his own son, Maharaj Nabi was certainly an illusion. This was transcendental illusion. This illusion is required. Otherwise, how can one accept the Supreme Father as his own son? Supreme Lord appears as a son of one of his devotees, just as Lord Krishna appeared as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. These devotees could never think of their son as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such appreciation would hamper the relationship of paternal love. Text again. Due to getting a perfect son according to his desire, King Nabi was always overwhelmed with transcendental bliss and was very affectionate to his son. It was with ecstasy and a faltering voice that he addressed him. My dear son, my darling. This mentality was brought about by Yogamaya, whereby he accepted the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Father, as his own son. Out of his supreme goodwill, the Lord became his son and dealt with everyone as if he were an ordinary human being. Thus King Nabi began to raise his transcendental son with great affection, and he was overwhelmed with transcendental bliss, joy, and devotion. Om Gyana Timrandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshru Unmilitangina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pushta Bhutale Shumate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirishesha Shunnavari Pastratyate Shatarne. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here we are hearing about how King Nabi is in illusion, but the quality of his illusion is unlike it's unlike a conditioned soul. As Prabhupada writes here, it's transcendental illusion. And the specific name for this illusion is called Yogamaya. So, as Prabhupada describes in the Krishna book, there's Yogamaya has a department which is material, and that's called Mahamaya. And this is the material covering, the material illusion that's causing living entities to be forgetful about Krishna. Mother Sri Devi last night was telling us about the prodigal son. And has anyone heard of the prodigal son? Yeah. So it's a story in the Bible illustrating how one son became forgetful of his position, being the son, baby, basically being a silver spoon baby. So his father was wealthy, but being forgetful of his position, he actually went into great poverty and a very deplorable condition. But when he remembered his condition, then his poverty, his misery, his suffering ended. So the nature of illusion, material illusion, it's that it causes decay. it causes a downward spiral. And you basically, your original nature as being a blissful living entity becomes covered over. However, the nature of transcendental illusion is that it actually causes you to go upwards, upwards in the sense that you go deeper into your original blissful nature. So here, Maharaj Nabi, before he got Lord Rishabdev, he was the emperor of Bharatvarsha. If you look at the lineage as well, he comes from a very great family. Uh, he's, uh, his uncle actually is Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva perfect at the age of 5. His father is Maharaj Agnidra. So he comes from a very great lineage, great, his ancestor, great great grandfather is Lord Brahma. So all of this are ingredients for actually making one happy. However, as soon as he got his a son who was actually the supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Rishabdev, his happiness simply increased. So here, and this happiness, Prabhupada describes it in the Nectar of Devotion. Mm, This is from chapter 43, describing the rasa of parenthood. So, as many of you know, this the rasa of parenthood is, according to acharyas, upmost rasa is this conjugal love with Krishna, and then the second most excellent rasa is his parenthood. Uh, so Prabhupada writes here, when ecstatic love develops into the relationship of parenthood and becomes steadily established, the relationship is called Vatsalya rasa. The exhibition of this Vatsalya rasa, standard of devotional service, can be found in the dealings of Krishna with these devotees, who represent themselves as superior personalities like father, mother, and teacher. Learned scholars have described the impetuses for parental love for Krishna existing in the elderly personalities who are in relationship with him as follows. Quote, Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose bodily complexion is just like a bluish, new-grown lotus flower, whose body is very delicate, and whose lotus eyes are surrounded by scattered hair as black as bees, was walking on the streets of Vrindavan when Mother Yashoda, the beloved wife of Nanda Maharaj, saw him. Immediately, the milk began to flow from her breasts, soaking her body. Unquote. Some specific provocations for parental love of Krishna are listed as his blackish bodily hue, which is very attractive and pleasing to see. His all auspicious bodily features, his mildness, his sweet words, his simplicity, his shyness, his humility, his constant readiness to offer respect to the elderly, and his charity. All of these qualities are considered ecstatic provocations for parental love. So you can see here as well, Maharaj Nabi, the body of Lord Rishabdev, is an impetus for actually stoking this fire. So Maharaj Nabi is young. Rishabdev is very young. So, and he has the characteristics that are described, like Krishna as well here: sweet words, simplicity, his body being very delicate as well. So the devotee who is in this Vatsalya Ras towards the Lord feels this impetus. Yes, I have to control, I have to give my son protection, or I have to, if Krishna's misbehaved, Mother Yashoda's thinking, oh, he won't get married. He has to be a good boy. So I have to correct him. And so these impetuses for that the devotee who is in Vatsalya Ras feels achieves great, causes the Supreme Personality of Godhead to do very surprising things. So here at Aghari, this is the land of Radha Damodar. And so when we celebrate, actually in every single temple around the world, when we celebrate the month of Kartik, um, we are surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was afraid, not, and he was running from the stick of his mother. Now, Krishna, when he's fully manifesting his qualities as a warrior and as a ruler, Krishna is not fearful of anyone. And yet, as a young boy, Mother Yashoda was actually able to make him afraid and actually run. And Krishna, it's not like he was, just acting, but he was actually afraid, shaking, you know. So in this way, you can see this ecstatic love of Vatsalya Ras. It actually makes the devotee achieve certain things which, even if you got mystic power, the kind of influence that you can have on the source of everything is actually quite incredible. So Maharaj Nabi, this is his perfection, is that in his great lineage of his family members, each of them have achieved very distinct perfections. Dhruva Maharaj, at the age of 5, he became um, a perfect devotee, only 6 months. His grandfather, Priyavrata Maharaj, he actually established a second son. Uh, so you, so basically, he was dissatisfied that some parts of the universe, the lighting in the universe, wasn't uniform. And so, using his mystic siddhi, he got onto a big chariot. So, using its Mahima siddhi, he expanded a great big chariot, which was very luminous. And so, the sun was on the other part of the universe, um, circulating Mount Meru, and a shadow was falling, he was on the opposite side, so that this side was actually lit. So this kind of achievement, it's actually unheard of, but Prabhupada, he describes it there uh, early in this canto, that Maharaj Priyavrata's achievements is due to him being a fully surrendered soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, as well, here in his grandson's, Maharaj Priyavrata's grandson's life as well, he performed a great sacrifice, and he was requesting. So the Brahmins were requesting, Yageshwar to actually appear, the Lord of all sacrifices, to appear. And their specific request to the Lord was, Maharaj Navi would like a son like you. Now the Lord thought to himself, well, actually, there's no one like me. So I'm, I'm just impelled to just appear as your son. Just simply because he had taken full shelter of the Lord, um, he was actually able to convince the Lord to appear in his family as his own son. So this had never been done before in the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu. So this is a very distinct perfection that he's actually achieved, this Vatsalya Ras to the Lord. So Prabhupada, in the Sanatana Shiksha, or instructions to Sanatana Goswami, as you know, is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya, he tells them that there's basically 2 categories of living entities. There's the Ashraya and the Ashrita. So the Ashraya is the shelter, and then the Ashrita is that which takes a shelter underneath the Ashraya. So the Ashraya is Krishna. He's the supreme shelter of everyone. And then the Ashrita is everybody else. So now the devotees, when they are situated in their Swarup Siddhi or their perfection in relationship to Krishna, the shelter manifests as Yogamaya. So here, in order for you to actually address the Lord as your son, uh, here the only way that it's possible is that Yogamaya has to cover you. So that covering is the shelter for the devotees. And so underneath that shelter, then these very wonderful transformations happen, both in the body of the devotee as well as in the activities of the Lord, as they exchange in love between the beloved and the lover. So now in the material world, the shelter that we've taken taken is the department of Mahamaya. Now it happens that way because of the different coverings. So originally, from an ontological point of view, that's what we want. And so in order for that to happen, then Krishna has to create a very complicated system, and it begins with this false ego. So Lord Kapila Devi explains it in detail to his mother in the third canto about how this covering actually works. And then Lord Brahma as well, he also explains it in the earlier in the third canto. Now, Krishna, he gives a summary of how this covering actually works, its mechanics. So he explains to Arjuna that basically the way it works is that you first contemplate the sense objects. So when you're thinking about, you know, you're thinking about, something that you feel attracted to. So your eyes are attracted to, just seeing beauty, many colors, or, you want to touch something very soft, or you just smell something, a nice aroma, and you're attracted to the cause of it, which is usually either a flower or or food, etc. So the sense objects and the senses, they're always running towards one another. And so then, as a result of that union, you are contemplating it. So from contemplation leads to attachment. And from that attachment, then you develop an urge to actually want to enjoy them. And if you enjoy them separately from the Lord, then it's lust. So from lust, anger arises because actually the your nature and the nature of that which you're contemplating is different. So we're trying to enjoy matter, but actually we're spirit. And so from that frustration, you are trying this way, you're trying squeeze it that way, trying to look at it this way, look at it that way. Um, there's no satisfaction. And then as a result, there's anger. And then from that anger, there's bewilderment of memory. Now, everybody has experienced this. How as soon as, somebody says something, pushes your buttons in the wrong way, immediately, as soon as that feeling comes up, there's a bewilderment of memory. You actually forget who the person is that you're addressing. Are they your well-wisher, or are they, your uh, your dependent? You like forget who they are. The devotee of Krishna, you just forget. And the words just boom, they just come out. So everybody has experienced this bewilderment of memory. Then once the memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And then once that, in other words, your ability to discern, is this appropriate? Isn't this appropriate? Should I do this? Should I do that? I probably shouldn't say this. It just, and you just say it. And then as a result of that loss of intelligence, one falls down again into the material pool. So this falling down into the material pool, this is the throwing potency of Mahamaya. So Prabhupada, he describes that Mahamaya has two actions. So it's covering potency and the throwing potency. So from this verse 262, that Krishna, it's a summary of how this Mahamaya actually works. You get covered over by the anger, and then that covering of the anger then basically leads to one actually being thrown, because now you have no compass. So with no intelligence, there's no way to navigate what is to be done and what is not to be done. Yeah. And so when one is actually thrown back down into the material pool, then your relationship with Krishna actually gets lost. And as practitioners of devotional service or trying to practice bhakti yoga, this is mixed. So some parts of the day, like the early morning, we're very focused. And then as the day progresses, there's like there can be some patches of forgetfulness of like actually, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be self-controlled, uh, practicing bhakti yogi, etc. Um, and even we can even look at a period in our week as well in terms of our work schedule, how it works as well. In the beginning, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is really good. And then towards the tail end of the week, yes, there's more forgetfulness than there is remembrance. So, yeah, so this is, yeah, it's very complicated. And its complexity is further explained the different categories of, that one falls down into and one is covered over by Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, he has to, his service is how to help the Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfill the desire of the living entity. So now the desire of the living entities is to be forgetful of their relationship with Krishna, being forgetful that they might have been a parent of Krishna, a lover of Krishna, a friend of Krishna, or a servant. So to achieve all this, uh, there has to be, yes, there has to be deeper and deeper layers. So Brahma, he explains in the third canto, 20th chapter, text 18. First of all, Brahma, actually, no, this is somebody else explaining. First of all, Brahma created from his shadow the coverings of ignorance of the conditioned soul. They are five in number and are called Tamisra, Under Tamisra, Tamas, Moha, and Maha Moha. So you can read it, but Prabhupada gives a very detailed account of these different layers of ignorance. And yeah, some of the layers are, being forgetful of your original relationship with Krishna, being forgetful about knowledge of the soul, thinking that death is the end of everything. And then once that has been established, then illusion, the moha. And then you actually expand it, through society, friendship, and love. So it's no surprise why living entities, week after week, birth after birth, um, and even devotees year after year, it's actually difficult to overcome this ignorance because it's so detailed. It's just a whole labyrinth. However, one can actually just penetrate this darkness simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So why is this chanting so powerful? Well, if you think about it, when Krishna was taking Arjuna through the coverings of the universe, it was completely dark. But Krishna was there illuminating the way. And so, similarly, the universe, Lord Kapiladev, he explains that the coverings of the universe and the coverings of you as a spirit soul in a material body is just a microcosm. So it's the same. And so when you chant Hare Krishna, even though you can be in the deepest, darkest dark darkness of ignorance, or you can still be, you know, trapped within the mode of goodness. In other words, the mixtures of the three modes within, your practice of devotional service, it just illuminates everything. And the devotees have experienced that when you're in kirtan, chanting with the devotees, um, yes, it's just basically like just a wonderful sunrise. Everything is bright. Uh, you are fully aware these are devotees of the Lord. It's so nice to associate with the devotees of the Lord. There's no, even if you had an argument with, some devotee, once you dance in the kirtan with that devotee, in other words, experiencing the prayojana which Mother Sri Devi was explaining yesterday, the intoxicating effect of chanting uh, this Hare Krishna mantra, then everything is actually illuminated. And so these layers of ignorance are just completely dissipated. Our one of our cooks in the kitchen, Ken, was telling us that there's this one person in New York, and basically he's a vagabond person, homeless person on the street, and he could see he had his his thing that he was pulling, but he could see one time because I think they were out on Harinam. He was staying in the Brooklyn Temple, and he could see this person, disheveled, dirty looking, and he's just sitting in his corner there, and he's reading Bhagavad Gita. So he was just surprised, what is going on? And so okay, he passes him, and then because they have their usual spot, the following day he also sees him, reading again Bhagavad Gita. So he was like really curious, and let me just go ask him what is actually going on. How did you get this Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, and he explained to him, yeah, that I just the devotees gave this to me, and I just started reading it, and now this is what I made. I just want you to have a look at this and tell me what you think. So he opens his trunk, and there's like this poster. It's like, yeah, poster. It's like a collage, and basically how the cover of the first canto, you know, with the lotus flower and all the planets. So he's got that, and then he's got different images of Krishna. So different cuttings from Back to Godhead. He's just created a very nice collage. He's like, it's not finished yet, but yeah, I am still working on it. So he was quite amazed. And so every time he passed that spot, uh, yeah, Ken, I think he would give him prasadam, and he would offer obeisances to Ken. So Ken had a disciple. We were joking, and you would just offer him respect. So this is a person in a very deplorable condition, like the prodigal son, and yet the devotional creeper was actually growing in those conditions. So this chanting of Hare Krishna, the words of the acharyas, the words of Srila Prabhupada, they're very potent, and they can penetrate any layer of ignorance or us. And so, and its full perfection is basically achieving the Swarup Siddhi. Um, and we can see it here in Maharaj Nabi, that the bliss is actually tasting is like that of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj while he was on, while he was in the material world. So that's the amazing thing, is that even though, yes, the spiritual world is a very far away place, um, but if you practice devotional service very diligently, you can achieve this perfection called Jivan Mukta. And the quality of your liberation, so it's being a liberated soul, even though you're in a material body, and the quality of that liberation can reach the heights of your Swarup Siddhi. So it's not just being liberated like, oh, you're just merged in the Brahma Jyoti and you're just feeling that happiness. But you can actually have the Supreme Lord appear as your son. It's quite amazing. Because when you look at the mystic siddhis of yoga, there's one siddhi which is called Kama Vashayita Siddhi. Now, when you look at, if you, okay, I don't encourage you to, but the young persons, they follow what is called, there's different cinematic heroes, this and that, and each of them, they have siddhis. So, like these guys, each successive villain has like, big a siddhi, and basically, when you look at, if you follow the comics, where all this is going, it's with this Kama Vasaita city who can like create universes and all this. This is where the direction that they're taking it. But this Kama Vashaita Siddhi cannot get you to become, yeah, cause the Supreme Personality of God to be afraid of you. You can never have the Supreme Lord appear as your own son. So all of these mystic perfections, they have a ceiling. They hit a ceiling, and you can't go beyond that. So, but with bhakti, you can just go to the topmost level of existence, and the perfection that's being expressed here is having the Supreme Lord as your own son. And what does the son do? Son gets your shoes for you. He'll put the shoes on his head. He will, if you clap, he'll dance along. So that's the Hare Krishna. Are there any yeah, reflections or contentions? Are there any? Yes, probably. Uh, the devotees online probably want to hear what you have to say. Oh, is there? Okay. All right. Check. Mm. It's Thomas. Yeah. Mm. I would have to do the analysis. I need a pen and paper. I haven't done it. Like a mapping. There probably is a mapping that you can do. Because even then, maybe Mother Sri Devi can answer this in terms of Madhurya Kadamani, third chapter, description about Anartha Nivriti. And there's 5 different types of kleshas or sufferings which are born of different anarthas. You could probably also do the mapping as well between how one klesha is related to one type of ignorance. But I haven't done that analysis. You're an engineer, so I'm sure you could answer that question. Should David see a relationship? Okay. Uh, uh, very good. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to repeat. So yeah, for our online audience, sorry for the audio. For the yeah, we only have one mic connected to the system, but basically we're speaking about different mappings of suffering and ignorance that are fine. So yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. Yeah, but it's not a fully integrated system. Yeah. Any other contributions? Okay. Oh, I think oh, okay. Okay. So you have to. Okay.
Deliberately, what do you want me to add? Oh, okay. Krishna wants his parents to forget how great he is. because they won't. That's the very last line of the purport also, that he covers his. Oh, it's working. Oh, okay. No problem, no problem. We can just say. Okay. Yeah, so on this point of forgetfulness, Krishna wants his parents to forget that he is God because he wants to enjoy their parental love and affection. They will not be able to carry out their loving service to him if they think of him in that way. For example, when Krishna opened his mouth and showed all the universes to Mother Yashoda, she was completely astonished and bewildered to see, and for a moment, she's thinking, who is my son? Is he a great demigod? Is he perhaps Narayan? Is he the Supreme Lord? And immediately, Krishna covers her so that she again just thinks of him as her little son and lovingly, feeds him her breast milk, chastises him, says, what is this, Krishna? Come home and play. Are you a street boy? Your lunch is ready. And Krishna says, no, I want to play. I don't want to eat. And she chastises him. All these loving exchanges are only possible because Krishna covers her. So he wants to enjoy Vatsalya Ras. And Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful analogy, if I may share. He says, there was once a great man, a very big shot, president of his company, and a really big man, and no one could meet him so easily. But one person was very, very keen to meet him, and somehow he managed to get an appointment. So he was called at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he goes over there. He's ushered inside, and he's asked to sit down and wait. So it's like 3:10, 3:20, 3:40, 3:45. 4 o'clock, nothing's happening. So he's thinking, this is a big man and he's given me this time. If the time passes, I may not get my appointment. So the door is a little open to the president's office room. So he pushes that door to see, maybe I'll check what is going on. He sees that great man on all fours with his grandson on his back playing horsey horsey. For the little boy, he's not a great man, he's his grandson. And for the great man, he's not a great man, he's the little boy's grandfather. So they're having this loving exchange. Like, he doesn't care about his position. So Srila Prabhupada gives this example that Krishna doesn't want his parents, doesn't want his friends to know how great he is, because then he can have loving exchanges with them. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. So first, just an appreciation, Prabhu. Just everything you do is full of sweetness. Whether you're milking the cows, whether you're giving Bhagavatam class, it's just somehow the mood of the cows has permeated you. So, question, you were saying there's only two kinds. There's Ashraya and Ashrita. So even the demons, those who are like inimical to Krishna, they're also actually Ashrita, but they just don't realize it. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, so in order to accumulate power as a empowered demon and not just like a ordinary earthly demon just controlling a few human beings, but controlling whole planets and um yeah, just to achieve that kind of power, they take shelter of tapasya. Yeah, so the system in the universe of accumulating power is tapasya. And whether you are a demigod or a demon, you're a devotee, this is the system of accumulating power. So the source of their power is Krishna himself. And the wonderful example of how a demon is underneath the shelter of the Lord is obviously Chitraketu, who took birth as Vritrasura. Yeah. So that's a direct conflict between a demigod Indra and a demon, Vritrasura. He was cursed, obviously, to do that, but he was a demon, uh, and there you can actually see the connection that as a demon he was actually more perfect than, than Indra, yeah, because he wasn't afraid to die. He was ready just to do battle, and even though he knew he would lose, but he lost valiantly. There's also, just forget the name, but the demon who took shelter of Lord Shiva, Vrekasura, there you go. Yeah, and he took shelter of Lord Shiva to accumulate power. And once he got the power, he wanted to eliminate Lord Shiva, just to enjoy Lord Shiva's wife. Um, yeah, so each of them, not only to, and then in Maharaja Bali Maharaja's case as well, um, their shelter is Bali Maharaj, who's a devotee. So the demons in Patalaloka, they have taken shelter of Bali Maharaj, and he's taken shelter of um, of Upendra. And so Vamanadev, and Vamanadev is a doorkeeper to the Lord. So yeah, when it comes to like the Surah Bhava, it's a very complicated way of like, yeah, of going back to the Supreme Lord. It's actually a very difficult, but there are persons who want to do it that way, and somehow they do it. They take shelter of Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj convinces them of devotional service, and somehow they achieve the perfection. Yeah. Does that answer you? Okay. Any other maybe contributions from our online audience? Or probably, did you have something? You can just use that. I'll just repeat. Yeah. Nah. Uh, 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 um, uh. Not really resolve, but just that it just illuminates things. Yeah, so even if you might have an ongoing disagreement with a devotee, but that they're an actual devotee, you in your intelligence and mind, you put more emphasis on that, and that's why those feelings of maybe hurt or whatever, they they become they are, yeah, in the corner in one sense. You can just like park them, and you can be joyful and be intoxicated by the holy name with that person for some time. Then, of course, when the intoxication wears off, it's time for reality. So, but it's honest. It's not like you are lying. It's not like you're putting a pretension to the person that you're happy in the kirtan. That's what I was trying to explain. Continue. Oh, okay. Mm. Ah, mm. 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 Thank you. Yeah, that's a better answer. Thank you so much. Yeah. Mm. 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 Thank you. Thank you. So we're out of time. They're gonna open the curtains like right now. I heard the bell. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Grant Torah Aghari Krishna Das. Mhm. No. Grant Rajima Bhagavatam Ki. Jai. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Thank you. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining us. And Hare Krishna. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Shri Guru Charana Krishna Krishna Bhakti Vedanta Swami
Ja Vishnu Partnerpransa Parivargacharya Slotra Sutta Shushman Avacharna Vindavaktivan Prabhupada Ki Swam Pangachar Beauty Foundation Shri Prabhupada Ki Ja Vishnu Partnerpransa Parivargacharya Slotra Sutta Shushman Artis in Hans Sars at the Table Rosam and Prabhupada Ki Nanti Gudivashna Vishnu Ki Ramachar Shlahada Sako Ki Principal Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shreya Gadadhar Shivasari Gauravatavati Ki, auspicious disappearance day of Sri Aviram Das Thakur Ki. Okay. Vrindavan Ki Jai, Mathur Dham Ki Jai, Sri Nagari Dham Ki, Vrinamai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi, Samaveka Vrinda Ki Jai, their Lordship Shishwara Damadara Lalita Nishadu Ki, Shri Daya Sundar Ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Swardamarani Ki, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Hitagopanande, Odorous Sri Krishna. Odorous 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 Sri Odorous Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Speak before one another. And this brings us in us positions, skills, and peace, and Krishna. Amen. Shivara, Amen. Pure, and listen the things of the song. So she will see the completion of their form class. Your wisdom confidence is in power to transform the world. This is your from the sea in peace and in the strong. I will perspective in fellowship. And may pour the community of the most open with your community and gifts. And trading the spirit, the loving spirit, water, chaos, the altar, the prophecy. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining us this morning and wishing you a very Krishna conscious day. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful kirtan. You intoxicated us with Krishna carols yesterday. Now with Krishna kirtan.